Okay, so in today's class, I'm just going to do similar to what I did the other day. I'm going to take a class from the Objective Proficiency textbook, which I hope Cambridge University Press don't mind about, because, if anything, I think this encourages people to buy the books. And God knows I've bought a lot of your books, hundreds, nay, thousands of them in my academy over the last decade. So... This isn't a bad thing that I'm doing. It's good publicity for you, Cambridge. So, back off. Anyway, grammar clinic today. I'm going to go through a lot of different aspects of grammar, the typical areas that people make mistakes in writing. And I think they actually help for the use of English parts of the exam as well, because what you'll see is, by having a good command of the grammatical structures, you're going to be able to see what's missing in a paragraph, for example, or see what's missing in, for example, part 2 when you've got a missing word, things like that. You have to be at this level really, really clear about all of the structures. So I guess what we're going to have a look at is, well, just what it says in the textbook, and we're going to go through some answers, and we're going to do a few activities and talk about how we could correct some of the mistakes that come up in this in these exercises. I guess let's just jump straight into it. It says, read these short texts. So we have a couple of texts down here. Okay. It says, read these short texts about alternative ways of approaching city life. The highlighted parts illustrate some of the grammar areas that C2 learners continue to have problems with. Okay, so what are they? We're going to have a look at the highlighted areas and sort of talk about what it is that is difficult about these things. No? So we can see things highlighted there in yellow, blue, and pink. Let's have a look. The first text is called Whoa. Not sure what happened there at all. Okay, not entirely sure what went wrong there, but anyway, we have this article, this first article that is called Knit the City. So it says, from knitted graffiti to guerrilla crocheting, so some knitting terms there, knitting as in making clothes with wool, no, to guerrilla crocheting, needle crafts have exploded in ways entirely unforeseen by previous generations. So that first yellow highlighted area there is talking about perfect tenses. That's a big problem, certainly for speakers of Romance languages. I know it's a big problem for Spanish speakers. I imagine it's quite a big problem for French speakers as well, because they have a tendency to use the perfect tenses all the time, whereas in English we're very specific about when to use them. That's me giving my half-assed analysis of the French language, of which I know nothing. But anyway, needlecrafts have exploded in ways entirely unforeseen by previous generations. Our grandmothers would no doubt approve of 20-somethings knitting something similar to a tea cozy, which they used to cover their teapots. Yeah, tea cozy, this is a very English thing. I mean, a teapot's a very English thing, but a tea cozy, now that's a thing. Apparently a lot of domestic accidents used to happen with tea cozies. I imagine they used to catch fire, but I'm pretty sure the ones we had when I was younger were fireproof. Probably made of asbestos and gave us cancer, but they were... There were no fires. There were no tea cozy related accidents in my household. Okay, so even when it is large enough to keep a London phone box warm. Oh yes, a tea cozy, something similar to a tea cozy, even when it's large enough to keep a tea... Oh, right, well, interesting. Okay, this, I think we can see a picture of what this is here. Okay, yeah, somebody's put a tea cozy over a phone box. Some creative genius, Damien Hirst in the making. Okay. This original item of knitwear has been made by knit the city. Okay, so again, we've got a perfect tense, but it's now in a passive form, right? So, has been made by knit the city. Passives can cause problems as well. I know it can cause problems for Spanish speakers, obviously, because there's lots of different kinds of passive voice in Spanish. You have the reflexive passive voice, which really does not translate well into English, and often leads to mistakes, particularly at lower levels, intermediate levels, I should say. Should be something we should be fairly confident with, though, I would say, passive voice at this level. Okay, it has been made by Knit the City, a subversive group of knitters who also operates in other capital cities. So it's pink, and it is, I think what it's highlighting there is a relative clause, which, again, can cause problems. Again, I don't think we should be getting the wrong pronoun at this stage at C2 level, should we? But you'd be surprised. It's quite difficult, especially, again, speakers of Romance languages, speakers of Spanish, you're going to say que for everything, aren't they? So, yeah. In Berlin, for example, a woolly currywurst was created entirely out of yarn, passive voice, right? For those not in the know, the currywurst is a popular fast food item. Over 800 million of the sausage treats are sold, again, passive voice, every year. Okay, we're going to go over some exercises here, seeing mistakes with this kind of thing. Okay, let's read about Pink Lady Flamingo, another person who lives an alternative life on the streets of London. Oh, I've lost my place again. There she is in all of her glory. Lady Pink Lady Flamingo. Right, I'm going to try not to lose my place again, but this is getting a little bit impossible as I keep slipping all over the place. Anyway, you may have come across the extravagantly dressed lady, Pink Lady Flamingo, whose real name is Marianne Kerr, okay, relative clause there, busking on the underground in London. Busking is normally what homeless people do. They sing and dance for money and they leave their hat on the floor. Not so much in London. I think young people do it quite a lot, you know, to sort of get practice. If they're in a band, they'll go and busk on the underground. So I've been told. So I've seen. They're certainly more professional than the buskers that you get here playing the accordion and banging tambourines in your face. Anyway, she auditioned for an official license to perform her music, having experimented with many previous careers. Right, so buskers have licenses in London. Yeah, I had a feeling there's something more like a professional gig there. I've been busking since I broke a recording contract with a major record company. What a rebel, said Marianne. Because I refused to be dictated to. She added that she became a busker, right? So I think this green here is reported speech, right? So she added that she became a busker more than 40 years ago and announced that she is in her late 70s now and still busking. Not a very well written sentence, but yeah, it's reported speech. Now, okay, I'm going to try to gently move back up. And we've got a list here of things that people often have problems with in number 2. It says, tick any grammar areas below that you feel you need to work on and add any grammar areas. And it gives us a list of other areas that people find difficult as well. So modal verbs, I think the only problem there can be sometimes choosing the perfect modal verb for the sentence. You know, I don't think it's a particularly difficult topic, right? Passives, yeah, we've mentioned that. Conditionals, yeah, that can still cause problems at this stage, though I do feel that conditionals are kind of like a mathematical problem, really, isn't it? It's 0 first, second, third, and the two kinds of mixed conditional, and then you're away, really. Once you've got that, under control. You know, you shouldn't have too many problems with it, and they are very, very useful. So make sure you know the structure of all of the conditionals. Perfect tenses, we've mentioned that. Relative clauses, reported speech, uncountable nouns, that still causes problems. Unbelievably, it doesn't matter how far you seem to get in the language. It's just, you know, remembering that furniture is uncomfortable. Furniture can be uncomfortable, but it is definitely uncountable. There you go. Anyway, it mentions some other things here. I think, what about it? I don't know, choice of preposition. Yeah, that's a big one, I guess. Structure with reporting verbs. Yeah, okay. Well, I tell you what, we're gonna have a look at some sentences, right? I think that's going to be more interesting. And I want to see if in the comments you have any questions here about these sentences that are all wrong. They've all got mistakes. It says, correct the errors in perfect tenses in these sentences which were written by exam candidates, right? So we're going to look at them. I'm going to see why they are all wrong. Okay, so 3 years ago, I have been to Germany on a cultural exchange. Well, unbelievably, this happens all the time, you know, but it's wrong. Of course it's wrong. 3 years ago, you tell me what you did. You've mentioned when you did it, so tell me what you did. You would say, I went to Germany on a cultural exchange, no? Okay, B, tourism is a word that is being used for the last 50 years. Right. Yeah, okay, so is being used now and has been used for the last 50 years, right? Has been, B-E-E-N, used for the last 50 years, right? We're talking, yeah, shouldn't be a problem in understanding that. Letter C, it says, in England last year, I was able to appreciate things I have never seen in my entire life. In England last year, I was able to appreciate things I have never seen in my entire life. Well, I suppose technically you have seen them now, haven't you? So at the time, you hadn't seen them, right? So I suppose technically there you should say things I had never seen in my entire life, right? Because up to that point you hadn't seen them. Okay, D, the noise levels have been measured in our suburb by another lady. What? The noise levels have been measured in our suburb the other day. Right, okay. And are twice the acceptable level. Okay, they have been the other day. No, the other day, that's when it happened. So the noise levels were measured in our suburb the other day. Yeah, fairly simple. Okay, E, all these years I'm practicing basketball. I'm trying to become a better player. What could we say here? I think what I would say is all these years I have been practicing basketball. I have been trying to become a better player, right? All of these years that I have been practicing basketball, I have been trying to become a better player, no? Yeah. Yeah, that sounds right. It's present perfect continuous. Yeah. All right. So when you will have bought your train tickets, you should take one each and put it into the machine. When you have bought. Right, yeah, this is complicated. Obviously, I know in Spanish here you'd be using a subjunctive tense, so it can be confusing. Here we just use the present perfect to say when that has happened, this is what you should do. No? So when you have bought your train tickets, the will is unnecessary, it's superfluous, and wrong, more than anything else. G, supposing they would have got married, wouldn't the day have come when they got bored with each other? Right, yeah, okay, yeah. Supposing they would have got married. I suppose, and I have to say, I think there's a lot of natives that would say this. I'm not even sure if this might even be an Americanism. Supposing they would have got married. But I think technically it would be more correct to say, supposing they had got married. Let's imagine that they had got married. Wouldn't the day have come? So this is like a second conditional? No? So I'm proposing a hypothetical situation. So it's a mixed conditional. Because I'm asking about what would have happened if they had got married. Third conditional, I suppose. God, I'm good at this. But yeah, supposing they had got married would be technically more correct, I think. No? Nowadays, almost every disease has a cure, and people have been caring more about their health. Yeah, that just sounds awful. Nowadays, almost every disease has a cure. Okay, that's correct. I would just say, and people care more about their health. No? Can't think of any other possibility there, to be honest. And then we're talking about the state of things as they are. People care more about their health. Let's move on to the next exercise without losing my place, if that is in any way possible. Okay. So, in exercise 3 it says, explain how tense choice alters the meaning in these sentences. In which 2 sentences is there no change in meaning? Right. Okay, so let's have a look at this. I think I can explain these. So, Mirik has gone, or Mirik went to Gdansk on business. So, Mirik has gone to Gdansk on business means that he is not here now. He is in Gdansk or on his way to Gdansk. Mirik went to Gdansk on business. Well, there's no implication as to where he is now. He may have come back since then. He may have then gone on to another place, but there's certainly no implication that he is still in Gdansk or on his way to Gdansk. Okay, B. Our society has been suffering, or was suffering, from high unemployment for decades. Right, well, has been suffering from high unemployment for decades suggests that it is still suffering from high unemployment. This is an ongoing situation. Was suffering means that we have come out of that suffering now, and we are no longer suffering from high unemployment. Okay, C. We have been given more time to complete the task. We were given more time to complete the task, but now that time is finished, right? And we don't know if we met the deadline or no. Did we complete it or not? I don't know. There's no implication. We have been given more time to complete the task. It means that we still have time to complete the task, and the deadline has not been reached yet. So, yeah. I think these are fairly simple to understand, but they are common mistakes. There's no doubt about it that people will write the wrong option they'll write the wrong option in a given context, right? Okay, D. Top government ministers have been dealing or have dealt with the problem. Well, if they have been dealing with the problem, we don't know if they have finished dealing with the problem. Probably not. It sounds like it's ongoing. Have dealt with the problem. Well, the problem is solved. No? E. Matt and James have played or have been playing golf all day. I think one is more natural. I think I would say Matt and James have been playing golf all day, as it's an activity. It sounds like there could be still playing, but they could have just finished. Maybe they've come home and you say, oh, they've been playing golf all day, they're tired. And they have played golf. Have played golf all day is the same. I think E is one of the sentences where there's no difference in meaning, really, as far as I can tell. Okay, F. I've thought, or I've been thinking about what you said. Well, if you propose something to someone and they come back to you, what you really want to hear is that they say to you, I've been thinking about what you said, because it sounds like the decision isn't quite made yet. Maybe they're still deliberating on a decision, right? If I've thought about what you said, the decision's been made, so they're going to tell you yes or no, right? Probably no. I've thought about what you said. But the decision's made. Yeah, if you've thought about it, you've finished thinking about it. Okay. G. Is there anything else we could have done? Is there anything else we will have done? Very, very different. Is there anything else we could have done? Like, I don't know. Your doctor's in surgery, in theatre, and you notice the patient dies on the operating table, and you just think, is there anything else we could have done to save him? Maybe you could have done something else. Maybe it was just he was just a lost cause. But is there anything else we will have done? I'm struggling to think of a context where you might say that, but it's obviously future perfect. So we're thinking about in the future, by this time next year, maybe. We will have done all of these things. Do you think we will have done anything else? But yeah, very, very different. And H, I'm guessing, must be the same meaning, because let's have a look. Come October, we will have lived, or we will have been living here for 11 years. Yeah, again, I think we will have been living here for 11 years, as it's an ongoing thing. We are living now, we will be living there. Then it kind of sounds like the more natural option, but we will have lived is equally correct. No, come October, we will have lived here for 11 years. Yeah, the same, both correct. Okay, so let's have a look at exercise 4. It asks us to reflect here a little bit. It asks us some questions, so I'm going to try and answer these questions for myself in full sentences. How long have you been learning English? Well, very typical question that you might get asked in the C2 exam. Obviously, for me, not a very relevant question. Since day one. I have been learning English since day one. I don't mean day one in the year of the Lord. I mean day one since I was born, the 18th of November, 1989. 31 and a half years ago, not 32 yet. Just days after the Berlin Wall fell. I like to think I played on maybe just a small part in that. Somehow. B, what have you never done that you would like to do? I think, what have I never done that I would like to do? Oh, God. Lots of things. I think visit the USA. I've travelled quite a bit. I've been to places further away than the USA, I think. No, I definitely have. India, Thailand. So, yeah, but the USA is a place that I've always wanted to go, because you grow up watching the States on TV, in films, and it feels like you know it. I feel like it would be a deja vu moment to go to somewhere like New York. Yeah, you'd feel like you'd been there, but you wouldn't quite be able to put your finger on when. It'd be a very, very interesting experience, I think. And I've never been there, so, well, hopefully I've got a few more years ahead of me to do that in. Anyway, C. What change has been made to your town or city recently that you don't approve of. I'm going to show you. Just look at this monstrosity. Look at that far lane of the road covered in God knows what, like different coloured squares, red lines, a cycle track. It's just an absolute mess. Oh God, you can definitely tell I've I've hit my 30s, and they've hit me hard. Yeah, so there's a change to my city that I don't approve of. They just keep taking roads away. It's just creating chaos in the town centre. I don't know if it's like this in other cities around the world, but Spain is losing its mind. Anyway, or it's making me lose mine. So, D. Which single change would most improve your quality of life at home? I don't know. I quite like where I live. But my life at home, I suppose my house is quite dark. It would be nice to have a big balcony or something like that. But you know, I live near a park and near the beach, and that's great, obviously. So yeah, I suppose, yeah, it'd be nice to have a bit more light in the house. Yeah, that could improve my quality of life at home. Bit of light box therapy. Anyway, what may have changed in your life by this time next year? Well, hopefully in everybody's life by this time next year, a lot of things will have changed, because this last year has probably been the worst of my life in many ways. But yeah, I think that's true for everyone. So, and obviously you put it in a historical context. Hey, we don't have it too bad, I suppose. But yeah, I think we all know what I would like to have changed by this time next year. I'm not going to talk about it. Might get demonetized. The World Health Organization will be onto me. Anyway, we've got one last activity to look at here. And what we've got are some words in brackets, and we're going to try to put them in the correct form, essentially, to make some good sentences here. So it's called Innovation in Our Lives. Okay, right. So hopefully you can see that fairly well. And we have 8 gaps. This isn't exactly an exam task, but I think it's kind of similar to what you would see in part 2. I mean, obviously part 2 is just one word, but you have to get the structure right. You know, you have to understand the structures. Let's have a look. So, across the centuries, people's daily lives continually transform by innovation, right? So this is a passive sentence. Have been continually transformed, I would say. People's daily lives have been continually transformed by innovation over the centuries, right? Have to be perfect, have to be passive voice. Okay. One of the most obvious characteristics of the 20th century was the rapid growth of technology, with individual quality of life improve immeasurably as a result. Yeah, I think there's lots of options. I think the simplest one here would be with individual quality of life improving immeasurably as a result. I think there could be many more options there. So let me know in the comments if you have any other ideas. I think there's lots of things, but the simplest one, with quality of life improving immeasurably as a result, yeah. Basic labour-saving appliances such as washing machines, refrigerators and freezers were commonplace in the home by the 1960s, and the demand for these and other white goods further stimulate by the availability. The demand was further stimulated, I guess. Yeah, was further stimulated by the availability of cheap electricity and noticeable increases in personal wealth during that decade. Okay, I think there might be more than one correct answer in a number of these. So again, if you've got any doubts, leave a comment under the video. Okay. Personal computers first made their appearance in the home in the 1970s, but surely few people be able to imagine then that the home computer could evolve into the super fast, super sleek machines of today. Surely few people would have been able to, I suppose, imagine. Yeah, few people would have been able to imagine. Yeah, absolutely. Nor could they even think that handled mobile gadgets would use constantly by all of us. Okay, now this is difficult. I think nor could they have even thought, I would say, that handheld mobile gadgets would have been used constantly. No, not have. No, that can't be right. Right, okay, yeah, I think I got it. So, would be being, now that is difficult, would be being used constantly, or would be being used constantly, I think, yeah. Would be being used constantly by all of us in our desperation to keep up with everything from office correspondence to world news. So what lies ahead of us? By 2025, will we have embraced even more sophisticated technological aids, or will the world's resources, again, future perfect, have depleted by... no, it's passive. The world's resources have been depleted by mankind to such an extent that there will be insufficient electricity to support these advances. Only time will tell. Leave comments under the video if you've got any doubts about what we've spoken about in today's video. No exam activities today, but I think we've got plenty of things to think about there. Some good vocabulary, some good grammar practice. I don't know, if you want me to answer any more personal questions in video form, click on the blue button under this video. The members options are there for you to see, so that you can see how you can support the channel, which is always very welcome. And you can join our private Telegram group, which is a new feature, where you can leave me voice clips, video clips, and anything else that you want to see included in a video. We've finished for today.